Okay, we are live.
We're live. It's happening.
We're live. We are
Today's
live.
the big. Woohoo! Today's the big day, Eddie.
It is. It's been a long time coming, Johns. It's been a
Yeah.
long time coming.
Do you know our timers actually went at UTC 12, not actually at the date of this event. So yeah,
Oh, well.
you got a few
Okay.
extra hours, I guess, if you wanna.
Hashtag oops. Okay.
No.
Well, let's kick it off. All right, everybody. Welcome to Legends of Lightning. This is Bolt Fun's first ever tournament, and it's an opportunity for makers to have some fun, to learn, connect, and experiment with awesome applications and tools on Bitcoin and Lightning. I'll take you through some of the event details. It's going to be pretty informal. We'll have a chat. We'll talk about how things are going to run, how you can take part, what to kind of expect. And then after this call, we're going to hop over into Twitter. We're going to go to a Twitter Spaces, and it'll just be a nice opportunity for us to all hang out, have some fun, and kind of just chit chat about what's going to happen over the next few weeks. Okay, cool. So as I mentioned, I'll just give a tournament overview. We'll then talk a little bit about how to kind of take part, how to create your maker profile, register for the tournament if you haven't already, how to enter your project, and then also, importantly, how to build in public. We'll also run through some of the key events and workshops, some of the prizes, and the judging and more. But before we do, Johns, what is the origin story of this tournament? How did it all begin?
How did it all begin? Well, yeah, a few months ago, Oleg from Fulga Ventures, he really liked what we were doing with the tournament, with the hackathons and stuff from Shock the Web, and yeah, he approached us and he said like, how can we connect these multiple hackathons that are happening? Because we had one that was like we were planning another Shock the Web in the fall. And there was one in Italy, in Tuscany. That's it's called Lightning Halloween. That was also being planned. And then we heard about this Afro Bitcoin conference as well, and TabConf, and all these various events. TabConf is kicking off today. So it's like all these things are happening, and he's like, "Yeah, what can we do to like connect them up together?" And we said. That's the next one. We said yes. We said yes. We didn't really have a plan. We didn't have any idea of how to do that, but we had the grit. And there was a lot of things that we needed to get developed on the platform as well, right? And our dev on BoltFund, MTG, bless him. He's been going really hard, especially for the past 4 months, to get the platform to what it is now. We had to build up a whole bunch of features. We've launched the ability to post stories and various other posts. We've done the tournament registration stuff, the project, being able to post your project and add people on your team to it. So it's a lot of work in the background. We've dealt with like database fires, and we had to deploy more bandwidth, as Ed likes to say. But we are here now, and yeah, that's all thanks to Oleg and Fulga Ventures, who lit the spark on this. And just want to say a few words about them. So they're providing, they're the premier sponsor of the event, of the tournament. They're a Lightning and Bitcoin focused VC, basically investing in pretty much a whole bunch of hot Bitcoin startups in the space right now, Bitcoin startups and companies in the space. So having that kind of like VC link and an event like this is also kind of a big deal, because one of the things that we're trying to do with this format of the event is that we're trying to help projects be sustainable. So throughout the tournament, in the next 6 weeks or so, you will be hearing from different VCs, or you'll have time to schedule with people from Geyser, for example, to help you do open source crowdfunding if you don't want to go to the VC route. But if you are wanting to go to the VC route, Folger Ventures is on board with us, and they got office hours and whatnot that you can do one-on-ones with the team there to help you work on your pitches and just perhaps like go into the viability of the idea that you're pursuing. So yeah, big up to them. This is like what 2.5 Bitcoin up for prices. I think this is like absolutely crazy. I was worried about taking that much in price in prize money, but you know, we're not taking any commissions or anything on that. All the prize money that we're giving it to you guys, participants. So yeah, the tournament is on. So I think we have another partner in this as well. That's the African Bitcoin Conference. It's happening in Ghana. It's a conference on the 5th to the 7th of December. You can check them out at afrobitcoin.org. And basically, they were planning on having a hackathon as well in the similar dates as us, so virtually. So we're like, why do we compete to have two separate hackathons? And Ed is going to tell you about the Building for Africa track. But yeah, really thankful for them for joining up with us. And yeah, it's going to be a pretty lit conference. So anyone who could make it there, they got some big heavy hitter names as well. I think Jack Dorsey's going to be there. A bunch of people from Fedi, Lightning Ventures. Mike is going to be there speaking as well. So yeah, it's a lot of things are happening. So let's get into the meat of it, shall we, Ed?
All right, let's do it. Cool. So a lot of people have been asking. We've kind of released this tournament not too long ago, Legends of Lightning. It's been floating around Twitter, like what actually is it, right? So this tournament, Legends of Lightning, is a new online global tournament, as I said, for makers to learn, to connect with each other, to collaborate on their projects, and to just build innovative, awesome applications on Bitcoin and Lightning. So it's going to be running from the 12th of October, so today, all the way through to the 7th of December. And really, instead of being the sort of traditional hackathon format, actually is kind of more focused as like a little bit more of an accelerator. So projects come in, they can be new or they can be existing projects. And throughout the 2 months, people can team up, they can connect with others, they can help each other solve their own problems. But also we're going to give access to loads of really cool workshops. As John said, there are going to be some office hours with Folger Ventures, with Lightning Ventures, and a couple other VC firms, Max Webster as well from HiveMind. We're also going to have some talks with people like Geyser and OpenSat, who are all about these sort of open crowdfunding grant game. So really what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a sustainable push for projects in Bitcoin to sort of grow, develop, and also just to get kickstarted. So it's going to be a really fun tournament. And it's just going to be a great way to have some fun. John's mentioned some tracks. So when entering your project into the tournament, you're going to be asked to select a specific project track. So these are kind of designed to basically help you focus your projects over the course of like the coming months. And they're kind of designed to solve crucial challenges with Bitcoin adoption. And that can either be obviously on the global level or the local level. In sort of specific regions of the world. So each track will have $10,000 in prizes up for grabs. So these are going to be, we have the global adoption track. So this is going to be kind of like the main track. It's going to be focused on scalability, product market fit, how can we get Bitcoin adoption around the world. And these projects can be Lightning, they can be on-chain, as with also with the Building for Africa track. But this is going to kind of be like the main sort of punchy track. As you can see, we've got first place, $5,000, second place, 2.5, third, 1.5, and then we've even got a best design award as well for 1,000. These prizes are currently sponsored by Folger Ventures, who we've been speaking about. And this is going to be like pretty amazing. I mean, this track alone has more prize money than we've had over the past 2 hackathons. I mean, actually, even that first place is pretty much more than those past 2 hackathons. So this is pretty huge, and we're really looking forward to seeing some awesome projects come out of this one. The second track that we have is this Building for Africa track. So this is in partnership with the African Bitcoin Conference. And this track is basically looking to encourage makers to build solutions that solve local challenges and increase adoption in Africa. So this is local to the African continent. This is trying to really like spike a huge drive of developer and designer adoption and innovation kind of within the African sector. And this, as I mentioned, is really kind of sponsored by the African Bitcoin Conference. This is kind of their merge of the hackathon, which we're really excited about and really glad to have them on board and sponsoring this track. Tracks aside, we also have some huge grand prizes. So every project that is entered into the Legends of Lightning tournament is automatically registered for the grand prize awards as well. Doesn't matter what track you choose, you're going to be entered. So this is kind of like the overarching umbrella prize, right? These are the big ones to go for. So these are going to be the top 3 projects out of all the tracks. So we have the Legend, who is going to bag a whole Bitcoin. So if you're looking to join the 1BTC club, whatever it is, I'm still going for it, cry. But like, this is the fastest way to do it, okay? No need to spin a wheel or get a gift card. This is the fastest way, I promise. We've also got 2 runners-up. So there's not going to be a second place, third place. We're just going to have 2 runners up, and they're both going to take home half a Bitcoin each. So again, pretty huge. And again, big shout out to Folga, who are sponsoring those ones as well. So some key dates to kind of keep in mind. So obviously, like this tournament, nearly caught myself there. This tournament is running for a couple of months, and it's good to know kind of like where to be and when to be there. So 12th of October, today, project entries open. So people can basically just start hacking on their projects today. This is maybe going to be kind of like the ideation phase. Maybe we'll slowly go into design, still forming teams. Like, that's okay. Just keep it slow and steady, build the momentum. We're building longevity here. So just have fun whilst you do it as well. Hack all the way through until the 24th of November, and then that's when the project entries are going to close. 4 days later, the finalists are going to be announced. So all of the judges, who I'll sort of introduce in a second, they're going to be scoring the projects based on a certain group of criteria. That will be over a 4-day period, and then on the 28th, the finalists, or a short list of finalists for each track, will be announced. These projects will then have a week or so to basically kind of refine and improve their projects and build a pitch, which they'll then give on finals day, which is going to be the 6th of December. And then the following day, we're going to announce the winners of both tracks. So that's first, second, third, and best design from both tracks. And then we're also going to do the Legend and the 2 runners up as well. So 7th of December, it's going to be a lot of cash flowing out, some prizes, some big prizes going out. So really looking forward to that. As I mentioned, we have some pretty awesome judges with us this year. A lot of big names in there. We've got Roy from Breeze, John Carvalho from Synonym. I'm sure you guys are all aware. Nifty Nye, Blockstream. Great to have her back. She was on the last one. Oleg from Folga, Addy, Summer of Bitcoin. Obi from Fedi, Alice from Stillmark VC, that's another venture capital firm who are going to be kindly giving some words of advice. We've got Nicholas from Galoy, John's, big up from the Peak Shift team, represent. Boomy from Albi, another judge who's coming back for more. We've got Ben Price from the Bitcoin Company and OpenSats, and Max, who I mentioned from Hivemind. We've got loads more as well. Ryan from Lightning Labs, Mike from Lightning Ventures, Dan from Backed, Carl Murphy from Pleb Lab, who really kindly, they put on an awesome event this past weekend. We've got Abukar from Bitcoin Core, Mary from Bitnob, Bernard from Bitnob as well, Tim, Charlene, Paco. You know what? I'm not sure if I can pronounce that one. Kanotsato, Victor as well. So it's going to be really awesome. We've got 16 judges at the moment for the Global Adoption track. We've got 8 for the Building for Africa track. Maybe more will come over the next couple of weeks, but I'm really excited to have that roster on. So some of the judging criteria, like what are actually the project's going to be judged on. So this is kind of probably quite important to keep an eye on, especially when you're building out your projects. So the first one is value proposition. So this is basically like product market fit. Does it have a fit into its market? What kind of value does it bring to the ecosystem? Or even what kind of value does it bring outside of the Bitcoin ecosystem as well? We have innovation. So basically, is it something new, or kind of have we seen this been done before? So obviously props are going to be given to people who build new things that we haven't seen, rather than just kind of reinventing the wheel. We've got Lightning integration and scalability. So scalability should be on there as well. This is going to be kind of important. Obviously, when we're talking about scalability, this could be things like how many transactions can happen per second, how many users can sign up, whatever it might be. So have a keen eye on Lightning is all I'd say. But obviously on-chain projects are allowed, and on-chain projects can also be scaled. So yeah, we also have transparency, or build in public, which Johns will talk about in a little bit. I've also published a story on Bolt Fun not too long ago about how to build in public. So this is going to be something that we're going to be pushing. And also today I just realized that build in public, if you shorten it down, stands for BIPs. So kind of cool. I like that. Execution. So obviously you've got your idea, you know how you want to build it. How well did you actually execute that? We've got design, because as always, kind of the eye for detail is always really important. And then a bit of je ne sais quoi, as Roy likes to say, or a bit of sort of spice factor. This is going to kind of be the above and beyond. You know, did this team really go above and beyond expectations? Does it have that real level of sort of pizzazz or coolness? And does it kind of stand out from the crowd? So how to kind of take part. So this is obviously a really important part. So in order to take part in this hackathon, or this tournament, sorry, I keep saying that, old habits die hard. You're going to have to first create a maker profile. So if you go to makers.bolt.fun, you will see a click to connect button in the top right hand corner. And you can click connect, and what you'll need is an LN URL auth compatible wallet. This is so you can use your Lightning keys to create an account, and then fill out your profile, add your name, your Lightning address, some skills, your roles, make it look nice and nice. And then when you're ready, you can head over to the tournament page and you can click the register button. You'll be asked if you want to be hacking by yourself, or if you want to be sort of open to connect, or you're looking for team members. So go through that registration. You should hopefully see a nice success message. And then when you actually want to list your project, this is going to be done through the tournament portal. So very soon the projects page is actually going to open up. And you'll be able to sort of submit your project into the tournament, which will be hopefully pretty easy. But in the meantime, very soon, TM, you're going to be able to add your projects to Bolt Fun. You can add your team members, you can add capabilities, screenshots, whatever it is. So you can kind of start generating a little bit of momentum around your project. You can tag it in stories, post about it, and just get a little bit of awareness out there. And you can kind of start building in public after you've kind of recruited other makers or people that you kind of want to team up with. So as I've mentioned, this build in public is going to be a really important factor to the tournament. Johns, do you want to talk a little bit about this movement, kind of why we're doing it, how to do it, just so that kind of people are up to speed on it?
Yeah, sure. So essentially, we realized that there's a lot of information that is very difficult to find in the Bitcoin space now. So for example, so let me get the slide. Yeah, so for example, we use Telegram a lot in the space. There's Telegram groups for all different projects and stuff. And sometimes they will also move off to Discord. And these, or Slack, for example, like in the Bitcoin design community, we use Slack quite often. Well, primarily as our means of communication. And we also use like things like Twitter, I guess, right? Now, what tends to happen is like all of these things have their own limitations, and the information is not very searchable. For on Twitter, you have the character limits. On all the chat applications, none of these things are indexed by Google, right? So someone coming into the space trying to figure out how to solve for X, right? They're not finding this kind of content. They're not finding this kind of resources, this knowledge that we're all sharing with one another in these chat groups. They're not getting shared, right? Sorry, they're not so easy to search for and find. So we were thinking about it, like, what is it that we need to do in the space? So we decided, like, okay, we like as Bolt Fun, which started out as a guide actually. So bolt.fun/guide, you can see like the origin of this whole project. We're like, we can't maintain and write about everything ourselves. So what we decided to do, we built a platform that allows you to post similar to like Medium or Dev2 or something like that. It just allows people to create a profile and post articles, reports, whatever, onto the site, which is then able to get indexed by Google, right? So this is like a good first step. It also helps bring the community together, sharing their knowledge and answering each other's questions in a more long form kind of thing. So building in public, what is that? Okay, so I've given you the reason, the why. Now, why? Like, what is this building public thing, and how do we go about it? So every week we're going to ask you to send a weekly report. This is going to happen, I believe, every Monday. By Monday, you should submit a report about what your plans are for the next period of hacking, what your progress has been from the last period of hacking, and what your progress has been. What are the things that you've completed or whatnot from your last period of hacking. So this is a reporting format called PPP. And what that does, it allows us to kind of like, when we're doing the judging part, it allows us to look at your reports and see like, okay, this is how you're progressing. And we compare that to whether it's Git logs or your features and stuff like that you've been posting about. You could post videos and stuff, include those links in your stories when you post it to Bolt Fun. And in doing so, what we're creating is a bunch of like pathways for new people who are coming into the space to understand how to solve problems or how to build something, right? And this is very critical because ultimately we need to grow this ecosystem, right? And it's great. We have like some amazing devs and designers and stuff in the space already, and marketing people, but we need more. We need to get as many people into the space as possible. And I'm going to publish something later today about this, which is basically, instead of allowing people to go down, the shitcoin path and all that and spend years to learn development and design patterns and stuff like that, why don't we just target people top of the funnel, right? Why don't we just get them in and get them hacking and building on Bitcoin? Because we need more use cases getting built. We need more open source contributors. We need more devs, designers, marketing people, social media, community management. We need a bunch more people into the space to really invigorate it and really for Bitcoin to take over, right? So that's ultimately it. Besides being used as a judgment criteria, your weekly reports is also a public good that we're providing, that you're providing by sharing your knowledge, sharing your process with the community, the internet, etc. It does not mean that your project has to be open source, by the way. It could be a closed source project, but you just need to make sure that you submit those weekly reports. To do so, and if you register for the hackathon, you go to the homepage, the feed page. There's a write story, then there's a template called weekly report. You just click on that, and yeah, you just fill that out basically. Each individual should do one. We're going to be releasing stuff for teams or projects so that those reports can get associated with the projects as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the how, why, and whatever else.
Nice one. And obviously, John, so you mentioned the weekly reports there. But obviously, projects can also kind of write about milestones, which I've written about in the in that article up on Bolt Fun. And I guess these are kind of just like larger bodies. So if you want to collect together a whole bunch of GitHub issues that you've ticked off, or maybe it's a new feature release, or you're going from alpha to beta, whatever it is, those can be done with milestones as well. So combination of the weekly reports, which hopefully every team member does, and then maybe some slightly larger sort of milestones of the project would be really wicked for people to see. We've got some really awesome events on for you, as I kind of said throughout this tournament. We're going to have some regular weekly events just so that people can kind of check in. We'll keep the momentum going. Just make sure people are kind of doing all right, staying sane, not burning out. And then we'll also organize some really fun workshops for you as well, which will kind of be released hopefully very soon. And these will be a lot more sort of practical skills that people can kind of learn, like how to build on Taro, or how to use a development kit or a certain API, how to build a community bank, whatever it is. So it's going to be relatable to a lot of projects, and these are also going to be really fun. So each week on Monday, all of these events, by the way, are going to be happening at sort of 4 p.m. UTC. That's going to kind of try and be our benchmark time. So on Mondays, we're going to have a weekly rundown. That's going to be our weekly rundown is going to be kind of like what's on this week. We're going to be looking at the events ahead. We had one last Monday where we kind of talked about the Designathon, which just kicked off today. TabConf, Bitcoin Amsterdam, which I'm sure a lot of you are either attending or watching online. So it's just going to kind of be checking in, what's on this week, what to get excited about. Every Tuesday, we're going to have a Meet the Makers session. So this is kindly run by Moritz at Albi. And this is just obviously a pretty informal chat with people who are currently working in Lightning, and then other people who have kind of taken part in our past events. So they're going to be sharing their resources and dropping some knowledge bombs on YouTube. We've then got Maker Spaces on Thursday. So this is going to be an opportunity for us to kind of have some discussions and some chats about different topics, like tokens that are coming to Bitcoin, or whether or not the revolution is going to be televised, community banking in Africa, that's going to be happening this Thursday. So if you've got a suggestion of something that you want to talk about as well, we are kind of open ears. And we can have more than one of these a week, but we're just going to have one every Thursday at least, just to start off with. And then on Sundays, we're going to have a kind of weekly check-in, where we can kind of discuss everything that happened in the week. People can come maybe with some blockers, or they have a funny story to tell about their hacking experience. It's going to kind of be a pretty loose hangout, and that's going to be on Twitter Spaces as well. Obviously, we have a lot of things that are kind of being tied together to create this tournament, as Oleg said in that first slide.
And we decided to say yes, and then did this. What's going on? But the other part of it is like, with all these different conferences and workshops and stuff like that, it's like a bunch of them are just like forming on their own as well, right? That's super cool.
Yeah, absolutely. The flame was lit by Oleg, and it's definitely being carried on. So huge shout out to everyone who's kind of organizing a conference or a workshop or a hackathon, particularly those done by sort of the local Bitcoin communities and meetups. It's always going to be a grassroots effort in Bitcoin. So really appreciate it, and stay humble and stack sats, as they say. But if you do have an event that you want to run, it is not too late to put it on. So you can just get in touch with us, slide into our DMs, they're always open. John's particularly. And we'll give you ideas of types of events you can put on. Obviously, it could be a conference, workshop, hackathon, but it could also just be a fun social hangout, right? Like, I think there's someone in Colorado who's going to be having some Crypto Beer Kings event at a brewery in Lone Tree. So shout out to you guys. Like, that's just going to be a fun hangout for people to kind of learn about Lightning. Maybe if someone's new to it, and they're going to be experimenting with a whole bunch of different things. And backends and kind of like how to run the event. So yeah, it doesn't have to be technical. It doesn't have to be a fully fledged event. It can just be something pretty informal. It could even just be a meetup online or in your local area.
Yeah, I think like we really need to like stress on this point. And I've been kind of like saying this, and I think this is like the right format of sentence. It's like we're not trying to like centralize and create like one event ourselves. What we're trying to do, we're trying to coordinate folks within the community that have their own incentives and their own kind of like passions and directions or whatever, to basically come together like it's happening right now. Just come together and use this period of time, the last quarter in 2022, you know, to just like really bring some awesome excitement into Bitcoin. We're doing it together, right? That's one of our like guiding principles, togetherness. You know, like great products get made by teams. You know, the days of the solo you know, the solo developer product designer that creates like the best and markets the best thing in the world, that's kind of over, you know. Open source has shown us the way, and yeah, like anyone who has an idea for, we call them satellite events. Anyone who has an idea for one of these things, it could be a lunch meetup, as Ed said, or this Bear Kings thing. You know, just do it. You can submit your event onto the website, and we'll get it listed in there as well. And yeah, it's just like this last quarter. Let's just, you know, bring the fun, bring the excitement, and come together as a community to like really show off like what we can do. And again, you know, it is to that goal of like people looking in on the outside. That, you know, that's what like we're also trying to attract, right? We're trying to attract people on the outside when they're looking in and seeing like, hey, these guys are having like so much fun, and it's so accessible, and there's all these like cool things happening. Then, you know, this is where they end up going, instead of like spending again a few years shitcoining, right? So again, if you have an event, you run it autonomously. You don't need to ask us permission or anything. You just start something, and you can get it listed on the website. We'll try to promote it on our end. You promote it in your community, and we all benefit as an ecosystem. So yeah.
Damn, man, I think I got some goosebumps there. Nice work, Johns. Pumping us up as always. Okay, cool. So finally, kind of where to be throughout this whole thing. So obviously, Bolt Fun. So if you go to makers.bolt.fun, that is where a lot of the action is going to be happening. We've got a tournament portal in there. So if you need to register or submit your project, or enter your project, sorry, you can do that in there. You can also find other makers who are taking part, those who are open to connect and team up with them. You can also search and filter by the type of role that you're looking for. So if you need a backend dev, if you need a designer or community manager, you can filter by those roles. It's going to be a really neat feature. And then obviously that's where you can also build in public or learn in public as well. So that's where you can write your stories, write your weekly reports, your milestones, and other people can kind of learn from them, comment on them, give you help, or if you're looking for help, you can get help from other makers as well. So that's kind of like the main community hub. But we also have obviously our Discord, which I think we've got nearly 300 people in now. Which has been wicked because, as John said, we were kind of putting out fires in our own database this past week. And a huge shout out to some of the makers who put up their hands and gave us a hand. That was really, really kind of you, and it's allowed us to continue. So it kind of shows actually why some of these processes need to be more open, why you need to ask for help, and why you kind of just need to lean on the maker community a little bit more. People are willing to help. It's a very open space. It's a very kind space. So yeah, just get stuck in. We've obviously got Twitter. So at BoltFund_BTC. That's where our weekly events are going to be happening, the Monday rundowns, the Sunday check-ins. And we're also going to have those Thursday sort of chats and discussions. And then obviously events like this, which are streamed live to YouTube, are also going to be kind of shifted and streamed live also to Twitter. YouTube, where we are now, obviously c/BoltFun. This is where we're going to be having the Meet the Maker sessions, the workshops. If you want to put on the workshop, we can stream it through here. And obviously the launch parties and live streams. Obviously the finals day, the pictures and stuff will also stream live to YouTube so that everyone can see it. Other than that, let's fucking go. Let's do this. Am I allowed to swear live? I think I can. That's fine. Whatever.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Man,
Right
how
on.
are you feeling about all of this, Ed?
Good. I want to compete, but I don't think I'm allowed to.
I think that has always been the case. Yeah.
Yeah. I need to stop organizing these events, and I think I need to just start doing them. I actually posted an idea up on BoltFun this morning, so if anyone wants to run with it, please do. It is all yours. But yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling fun. I'm just ready to have some fun. I'm ready to see people in the space kind of like grow and connect and learn together. And more than anything, I'm looking forward to seeing some really cool applications and tools come out of this.
Yeah, so so about that, somebody asked about the designathon in the chat there. I don't think they dropped it in the YouTube, but someone asked about the designathon and all these other satellite events that are happening. So essentially, you're like, the event is happening from now until, or the hacking part or the building part is happening from now until the 20th of November, right? Any event or projects within that time that gets built, you can just submit it. So there's no restrictions. You can just submit it. We do ask, though, at whatever point you start, like you do enter the tournament, or maybe you have a friend that's like on the fence or whatever that doesn't want 1 Bitcoin in prices, apparently. They're still on the fence. If they want to join in like next week or the week after, it is possible. But this build in public kind of thing, it's going to be counted for each week that you make a report, right? So just keep that in mind. So ideally, you are kind of like registered now and thing, but you could join in at any time. So there's Lightning Halloween. This is a hackathon that's happening. There's mentorship sessions that are happening as well for you, both virtually and in person in various places like Miami. I think there's some stuff happening in El Salvador as well at the Adopting Bitcoin conference. So yeah, you can submit your project at whatever time as possible. Now you have to figure out how the weights and stuff will work. If you're not able to build in public in time and stuff, so you really want to maximize as much points as you want. So we're stressing to share your progress. But back to the designathon. So the designathon has kicked off today. It's from the Bitcoin design community. So you can go to event.bitcoin.design and you'll see details about that there. And the reason why we placed this in the beginning of the tournament is because the next few days, it's probably going to be a time where you're trying to form teams, looking for trying to come up with an idea, looking for people to help you out with your existing project, etc., right? It's also going to be a time for you to do some planning, to be able to set some goals. This is very important. You have your weekly report, so there's like ideally goals that you're setting every week of like what you want to hit. But like you have an ultimate goal at the end of the tournament, like what is it that you want to achieve and present, and how is that thing going to affect global impact? So you have to figure out like what's your presentation going to look like, what's your narrative, who your target users and stuff like that are. And in the Bitcoin design community, you have a bunch of UX researchers, designers, people who do things with personas, some marketing folks and stuff as well. So you can lean on those people to ask them and ask for mentorship and guidance on your existing project or whatever new project that you're coming up with to help you kind of like do the planning. Christoph Ono from the Bitcoin design community, I keep quoting this all the time. He says design is a great planning tool, and I agree fully there. So you can participate, like, and if you're a designer as well, if you're non-technical, you can get in on the designathon, work on some prototypes, or if it's just wireframes, you post that as your project on both on the makers.bolt fund site, and then you recruit people, developers, to help you build it, because there's still people who are looking for teams and stuff like that. When you go on the tournaments page, click on the makers tab, you will see a list of people who are looking for teams, or if they're hacking solo, with the contact details and stuff, you can reach out to them. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. If there's any questions, drop them down below as well. Rant over.
Rant or waffle? I don't know.
Waffle,
Can't tell
waffle.
the difference. But yeah, we are going to be live in Twitter next. So obviously it's just me and John's up here at the moment, but it's going to be a great opportunity to hear from you guys and also just have a bit of a fun hangout. We will post that up on Twitter, but basically as soon as we leave here, we'll just go live on there. So feel free to hop over and join us. But yeah, anything else, Johns? I think we maybe covered it all.
Oh, I think we went through that pretty quickly.
Yeah, we did.
What's up with our waffling? We need to like do a bit more waffling, you know? When will the project tab in Legend of Lightning open up? Good question. What project tab? No, we've like I said earlier, we've been deploying more bandwidth to the centrifuge of the database reactors. That doesn't exist, by the way, Ed. Yeah, so hopefully in the next couple days that will be open up. We are dealing with some performance stuff because there's so much excitement, right? There's so many people on the site, you know, millions of people on the site. We're dealing with some performance stuff that MTG is feverishly trying to resolve. So once that is done, it will open up hopefully in the next couple of days. But we'll keep you up to date. Watch out on Twitter for that, and of course in the Discord. Yeah.
But obviously, in the meantime, feel free to start writing about it using stories.
Exactly.
Write about your idea. Set yourself some weekly reports. Whatever it is. Obviously, it's a Wednesday, but there's still stuff to do. Nights and weekends. So we think a lot of people are probably going to be hacking on the weekends. So
yeah, actually, have we covered that? Why? So this is waffle time, right? So guys, think about your questions. Guys and girls, think about your questions. If you have any, we'll cut this stream off in like 15 minutes and hop over to the Twitter Spaces. But yeah, me and Ed are just gonna chat about like some of the background here. So Ed, you mentioned like nights and weekends. What is that about, and like why did we do that? Maybe you could explain that a bit.
Yeah, of course. So obviously, I think really probably to give a bit more context about that, I maybe need to talk a little bit about how our previous hackathons ran. So for those of you who took part, or for those of you who didn't take part, they were the Shock the Web hackathons. We had 2 earlier this year, and the first one I think was 4 days long, and the second one was a week long, or the other way around. I can't quite remember. But like many events, we kind of we ran into this problem, right, of basically kind of like momentum loss, drop off. It was a real kind of slump after these events. So we had these huge spikes in activity. We had loads of people joining our Discord, into the Slack channel. We had people signing up on the site. Actually, at that point, we didn't even have profiles, so that's complete falsity. But after these events ended, everything kind of went quiet. The projects kind of died out. People didn't really work on them anymore. And we kind of just thought, well, like, why are we hosting these events if the projects are just going to die out? I mean, they're really awesome and they're a great way of inspiring a few people to kind of learn. And obviously these were like web focused hackathons, which was something we were kind of trying to push just for the start to give ourselves a bit of focus. But we're left with that question, like, why are we doing this if none of the projects actually like sustain themselves or come out on top after this? And so that's why we kind of invented this like tournament. It's a longer format. We want to get people into the habit of hacking on their nights and their weekends. So a lot of people who are going to be taking part in this tournament are not full time at what they're going to be hacking on. They're not paid to do this on a daily basis, or even they're not paid to do it as their main job. And then they're kind of hacking on a side project. A lot of people are going to be coming in, they're going to be totally new. They've maybe never designed an app or developed an application before. Maybe they're just completely new to Bitcoin and Lightning. And as John said, we want to create a really fun and inclusive environment where people from the outside can look in and say, hey, that looks fun. That looks cool. I want to get involved. So this kind of nights and weekends thing is more directed at the people who can't do this 9 to 5, who can't doing this during the day. They're going to be hacking on their side projects. They're going to be the midlight hustlers, as we like to call them. Totally just made that up, but I kind of going to run with it. They're the people who are going to be kind of like using their free time, their spare time to hack on these things. So yeah, nights and weekends. That's kind of where that thing came from. I'm just waffling. What was the question, John?
Well, that's what we do. That's what we do. Yeah. No, it was, yeah, no, essentially that, we just wanted to be like a little bit more healthy and a little bit more inclusive to people who kind of like are not used to this, are not used to building stuff on Bitcoin. Now you have time to learn, and we're going to try to provide some workshops and stuff like that that will help you along the way. We have some mentors already. You will see them in Discord with like like their icon should be blue. All right. You could just reach out to them and ask some questions. You could approach me at Ed, and we'll try to connect you with various people. Like I said, we also have like scheduled mentorship sessions, like workshops, as well. So yeah, sometimes at these hackathons, you come there, you're all alone, you don't know what to do, you want to participate. We want to be able to like help those people also be able to come in and do something, build something. So we figure a longer format one is kind of better to allow that. Yeah.
What are you most excited about, Johns?
What am I most excited about? Let's see. What am I most excited about? Servers not dying. I'm just excited to see the community come together. I'm excited to help make other people excited effectively. If we can create that excitement and show how cool it is to build on Bitcoin and stuff like that, I think yeah, that's just enough for me. The prices are exciting already. We made certain decisions technically on the Bolt Fund platform to basically help people get onboarded as well and play around with this tech. For example, like when we do authentication to like the only form of authentication we have is the code that you have to scan with your Bitcoin LNURL keys, right? LNURL auth. This is the only form of authentication, and I think that shows like so everyone who has joined the event so far, registered for the tournament, all of them had to download a wallet and figure out like what's this thing that I have to scan or whatever. Everyone who posts a comment on what do you call it? Deanna, elbow gloves. Anyone who posts a comment are interacting with Noster. If you end up voting on a on a comment item in the thread or on a post, you're now interacting with something called WebLN. So we made certain decisions on there to help people understand what it is that they could do with this tech, and hopefully that in itself can excite them too. So yeah, it's really just trying to see if we could get people excited, and that's what makes me excited at the end of the day. Yeah, but
there you go.
Yeah, if we want to jump off on the Twitter Spaces now, we can start a little bit earlier. We have no questions really coming in there, so maybe that is enough of the waffling.
Cool. I need to get you a waffle maker for Christmas, John.
Yeah, we waffle on the next platform.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right, guys. Well, we'll start at that Twitter Spaces, and we'll hop over there, and we'll see you there in a couple of seconds.
Yeah. Ciao. Peace.